Let's take a closer look at CVE 2014-3704, commonly known as the Drupageddon vulnerability. Initially disclosed in October 2014, this vulnerability impacted Drupal core version 7.x prior to version 7.32. It allows for SQL injection through specially crafted keys, posing a significant risk to affected systems. Understanding this vulnerability is essential for Drupal developers and administrators to ensure their systems remain secure. Let's dive into the specifics of CVE 2014-3704. This vulnerability is classified as a SQL injection vulnerability. It specifically targets the expand arguments function within Drupal's code. The impact of this vulnerability is quite serious, as it allows for remote code execution, which means an attacker could potentially run malicious code on your server. Moreover, it carries the risk of privilege escalation, enabling attackers to gain unauthorized access to sensitive areas of your system. Understanding the nature and impact of this vulnerability is key to grasping the severity of Drupageddon. In this slide, we focus on the affected products of the SQL injection vulnerability, identified as CVE 2014-3704. The primary systems impacted are Drupal core versions from 7.0 to 7.3.1. It is important to note that Drupal 6.x versions are not affected by this vulnerability. This issue can arise within common web environments that host Drupal sites, making it imperative to evaluate your current Drupal version if it's within the specified range. Awareness of which systems are affected can guide your response and patching strategies to secure your web platforms effectively. Now, let's focus on the strategies to fix and mitigate the issue at hand. An immediate resolution involves updating to Drupal version 7.32, which addresses the vulnerabilities directly. Beyond this urgent fix, adopting best practices for security is key. Regularly patching and updating your systems ensures that you are protected against newly discovered vulnerabilities. It's also advisable to enable security advisories so you receive timely notifications about security issues that may affect your setup. Additionally, implementing a web application firewall, WAF, can be an effective measure to mitigate exposure to various threats. These strategies collectively help maintain the security and integrity of your web environment. In this slide, we will explore the exploitation path that attackers may use once they've identified vulnerabilities in a system. Specifically, we'll look at the techniques and potential impacts involved. Starting with exploitation techniques, attackers may execute injection attacks through HTTP parameters. This could allow them to manipulate input fields on a website, potentially leading to severe security issues. The potential impacts of these exploitation techniques are significant. Unauthorized data access is a major concern, as attackers could gain access to sensitive information. Additionally, there's the threat of remote code execution, where attackers could remotely execute malicious code on the affected server. A real-world example of these vulnerabilities includes attackers successfully exploiting faulty prepared statements. This underscores the importance of understanding and addressing these vulnerabilities to safeguard systems effectively. Here, we are focusing on practical exploitation commands that you can utilize to identify and leverage vulnerabilities. For instance, if you're curious about checking for vulnerabilities in a Drupal installation, you can use nmap with a tailored script command. The provided command allows you to specify the script for checking a vulnerability identified as CVE 2014-3704. Shell nmap-script ht34-3704 script args hscript v-3704.ur=/Drupal. Replace target with the actual IP address or domain of your target environment. Additionally, Metasploit offers a module called exploit multi/ht Drupal Drupageddon that can be employed for exploiting this Drupal vulnerability, widely known as Drupageddon. These tools help pinpoint and potentially exploit security flaws in web applications. Always remember, ethical usage mandates permission from the rightful owner when utilizing these techniques for security assessments. In this slide, we'll cover some practical tips to strengthen your security posture. First, let's talk about monitoring. Implementing intrusion detection systems, or IDS, is an effective way to keep an eye on network activities. These systems help identify unusual behaviors and can alert you to potential threats. Additionally, it is important to monitor HTTP anomalies. Logging and setting alerts for these irregularities can be invaluable for early threat detection. Moving on to development practices, one of the key techniques is using parameterized queries. This method protects against SQL injection attacks by ensuring that user input is properly handled. It's also important to conduct regular security audits. These audits can help you identify and address vulnerabilities in your code, ensuring that any weak points are reinforced. By implementing these practices, you can significantly enhance the security of your applications. In conclusion, what we've covered emphasizes the importance of prompt patching, especially in addressing pre-auth vulnerabilities that can be severely exploited if left unaddressed. Moving forward, it's imperative to maintain continual monitoring of updates to stay ahead of potential threats. Regular security training for developers is also essential to ensure they are equipped with the necessary knowledge to implement secure coding practices effectively. By integrating these practices into your processes, we aim to strengthen security resilience and reduce exposure to vulnerabilities. Let's take a look at some key references related to the security vulnerabilities discussed earlier. First, we have the official Drupal advisory, CVE-2014-3704, which provides an in-depth overview of the issue and recommended actions. Then we delve into the National Vulnerability Database with CVE-2014-3704, where you can find a detailed analysis and technical specifics. Lastly, the exploit database entry, known as Drupageddon, documents instances of SQL injection attacks, providing practical insights into how these vulnerabilities have been exploited in the wild. These resources will be invaluable as you seek to understand the risks and protective measures associated with Drupal security.